downfall of many self-help books, they'll say that you have to sweat blood to get what you want in life. Well, isn't sweating blood a sign that a part of you really doesn't like it? Would wouldn't you rather treat yourself well in the process of changing into a better person? The other extreme of self-help book include fluffy motivational BS and other non-threatening prose to make you feel good. You might feel motivated temporarily, but as we have established, relying on feeling and motivation doesn't work in the long run. In your journey, you are going to love the weightlessness of many habits, but this is not a pushover system without a structure. It's not a vapid attempt to get you psych up. You will set a strict daily or weekly requirement for yourself, but you are so easy that your subconscious won't feel controlled by your plans. Important then, after you meet your small requirement, you are free to do what you want without guilt and without any overbearing burden of heavy goals. You are free to explore these healthy behavior. It makes the process more fun too, and this is a scientifically relevant benefit. One study found that when people perceive tasks and decisions to be fun as opposed to tedious, boring, or difficult, they had a stronger persistence. Researchers in this study also noted the powerful impact of autonomy, which you will notice is a key component of mini habit. After your mini habit, you are free to do what you want. Autonomy appears to work by means of activating our intrinsic motivation. Examples they mentioned in which increased autonomy gave better results, each supported by their own study, are morbidly obese people losing weight, smoker quitting, and diabetes controlling their blood glucose level. Many habits marry the abstract and concrete. The two types of goals are abstract and concrete. An abstract goal is I want to be rich. A concrete goal is I want to make $15 by selling lemonade at 3 p.m. today. Most people strongly recommend that you aim for concrete goals, but it is important to also know your abstract life goals and values, as I have written about before on deep existence. Abstract thinking helps with abstract goals but can hinder the self regulation required for concrete goals. A study by Lavro and Patrick showed the potential effect modes can have on our thinking. The experiment involved various mood manipulation techniques, that is asking people to think of the best worst day of their life and then test to measure abstract thought ability or preference. They concluded from the study 5 experiment that happiness caused people to think abstractly, which help us see the big picture but can create a challenge for pursuing goals requiring concrete thinking. Another problem is seen from a study by Ayelet Fishbach and Ravi Thar. It suggests early satisfaction or a high expectation of success can make us feel as if we have already succeeded. Dieters were split into two groups. The researchers reminded only one group of their dieting progress and then offered both groups a reward choice, an apple or chocolate bar. Of the group reminded of their progress, 85% choose the chocolate bar compared to 58% of other groups, suggesting I deserve a reward mentality. I primary benefits of many habits is being able to do them no matter how you feel, including that sense of pre-goal satisfaction that tends to disrupt progress because the requirement is so small. There is no valid excuse, not from happiness or lethargy, to skip it. Happiness decrease your ability to perform concrete goals. But since the concrete part of mini habit is, for example, just one push-up is still easy to do while in an abstract state of mind, it's so small that it requires very little mental energy and attention. And since happiness increase performance and focus on abstract goals after you concrete goals, you can rely on your abstract goals of being fit to make you want to exercise more. As I've had success with mini habits, I've been happier, and it does make concrete mini habits slightly more difficult to achieve, still easy. But once I started on a mini habit, the relevant abstract goals of writing more, reading more, and getting in great shape are easier to pursue because many habits empower progress on abstract and concrete goals. People who are generally stronger in one or other can find success. Remember when in the one push up challenge, I had to set multiple goals to complete 15 push ups. I had to rely on concrete, tiny goals to finish the workout. This flexibility is important for consistency because of the psychological changes we experience on a daily basis. It's being prepared for all possible situations and setbacks. There are almost no situation that will cause a complete failure to meet your many habits, but there are many scenarios where you will find yourself exceeding your mini habit. The only time I failed just one of my three mini habit was when I forget to read and fall asleep for the night. Mini habits are perfectly suited for any mood or situation. You can be happy and motivated, tired and depressed, or even sick and still complete your mini habit and possibly more. Many habits destroy fear, doubts, intimidation, and hesitation. These things are best conquered by action taking. The first step kills fear over time. It's not immediately. I'm no longer intimidated to write. I no longer have guilt about not reading enough. Going to the gym is not the daunting now, it's fun. Fear can't exist if you have experienced something and it wasn't scary. Many habits compel you to take the that first com- many habits many habit compels you to take that further step because it's so easy, and even if you step back into your safe zone right after that, you're stepping out again tomorrow. Eventually you are going to take a second step to many habit expose you to your doubts and fear in a way that feels safe and empowering. You'll see that exercise isn't so hard and you can do it. You'll see that daily writing is easy and writer blog is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You'll start reading more books. You'll have a cleaner home. Whatever you have been wanting to do will become possible. Many habits create insane bonus effect of increased mindfulness and willpower. One of the most important skills a person can develop is mindfulness, which is being aware of you think, what you think and do. Being mindful is the difference between living purposefully and going through the motion. If your mini habit is to drink 1 glass of water per day, you will be more mindful of how much water you drink in general. When you have to monitor something every day, however small, it climbs the ladder of your consciousness, and you will think about it even after you met the requirement. I'm so mindful of my writing now because of my mini habit that I think about opportunities to write all day long. You will simultaneously and naturally develop a mindfulness habit. You will help with all future habit modification, including bad habit. The next bonus is a willpower increase. Since willpower needs endurance more than Raw power, frequent repetition of small tasks is the ideal way to exercise the willpower muscle. The stronger your willpower, the greater mystery have you will have over your body. Many people are slaves to their bodies, responding to every feeling and whim. They believe they can't do things if they don't want to do them at the time. Adding mini habit is a great way to fix this mindset while building willpower. Enough talk, let's move to action. The next chapter will show you how to create mini habits to last a lifetime. Mini habits aid a small step to big change. If you don't execute your ideas, they die. Roger Von Uch. The real fun begins now. This is the step by step application guide to choose and implement your own mini habits. I recommend that you get a pad and pen now to go through these and write down your plans and its strategy. Step 1, choose your mini habits and habit plan. Make a quick list of habits you like to have had at some point. The important ones will come to mind quickly. This will be your reference list for step 1. Visit minihabit.com for ideas. Note habit ideas from minihabit.com are already in mind feed from you can write down these mini habits now as long as you know the larger habit it represents. One push up could stand for general fitness or for a larger push up goal of 100 push up daily. Otherwise, write down full size habit for now. It's tough to pursue one habit when you have a few more habits you're anxious to create. It takes a lot of discipline to ignore everything else for a few months in order to solidly develop one habit. It worth the sacrifice to build one habit that lasts a lifetime, but it remains a challenge. Good news, everyone, as I've alluded to already, you can build multiple mini habits at once. This is due to their small willpower cost and flexibility. Their size will vary to both in initial difficulty and how much extra you're likely to do. I have written far more bonus words than I've read bonus pages written. Writing is a priority for me, so it's naturally where I put in the most effort. They said I also read much more than I previously did, and on some days I read much more than I write. You are going to love this flexibility because it allows for parties traveling other schedule abbreviation. Lately, I have been pursuing three mini habits with great success. It four if you count exercise, but that's already a habit. I go to the gym 3x a week. I still track it weekly, but it is no longer a willpower challenge. My brain is more likely to encourage exercise than resist it now. I would not recommend that you pursue any more than four mini habits at a time, and four might to be much. While these habits are individually easy to accomplish, the larger the quantity, the more your focus will be divided amongst them, and the more likely you will neglect or forget one of them. Not only that, but imagine having to meet 100 tiny requirements every day. Yes, there is a willpower cost for having to do a certain number of things every day. Two or three mini habits will be the sweet spot for many people. Here are the habit plans to choose from. 1 week flexible plan recommended. In this plan, we start with one habit and use the mini habit system for 1 week. Then you evaluate and choose a long term plan. Evaluate at 1 week. Do you feel burned out? Do you find yourself easily surpassing your requirement every day as you crushing it and carving more good habits depending on how challenging it is for you. You can stay with one or add more since not all habits are of equal difficulty. Defining a set number that work for everyone isn't possible. Otherwise, also keep in mind that the more mini habit you have, the less likely you are to overachieve in them. Finally, consider what your most difficult day would be like. Maybe you're driving all day on the road or preparing for a big party. Can you complete your mini habit then? Don't imagine the easiest day, imagine the hardest day. If you can do something on the day you're tired, stressed and very busy, you can do it every day. Now, if you feel like your willpower can handle an extra mini habit or two, add it. Notice that I didn't mention your schedule because your mini habits should take you less than 10 minutes combined to complete if you don't decide to do extra. Everyone has 10 minutes to spare for something important. The 1 week flexible plan is recommended for people who want to try the mini habit system but aren't sure yet what's best for them. This plan will automatically turn into one of the other plan. Warning, it's important to mark the 1 week mark on your calendar to make a firm decision that day about your future plans. Don't allow a gap. The single mini plan, do you want to write consistently more than anything? Do you really want to get serious about your fitness? Do you want to dedicate yourself to daily reading? This single mini plan places all of your focus on one habit. It comes with a very high success rate. I started off doing this with the one push up challenge, in which I was required to do at least one push up every day. If your willpower one is as weak as mine was, or if you are depressed, you might be all you can handle. You got to start somewhere. This is the recommended for people who have a single goal that drop the others in importance. Right now, it also a good option. The 1 week flexible plan is recommended for people who want to try the mini habit system but aren't sure yet what's the best for them. This plan will automatically turn into one of the other plans. Warning, it is important to mark the 1 week mark on your calendar to make a firm decision that day about your future plans. Don't allow a gap. The single mini plan. Do you want to write consistently more than anything? Do you really want to get serious about your fitness? Do you want to dedicate yourself to daily reading? This single mini plan places all of your focus on one habit. It comes with a very high success rate. I started off doing this with the one push up challenge, in which I was required to do at least one push up every day. If your willpower is as weak as mine was, or if you are depressed, you might be all you can handle. You got to start somewhere. This is recommended for people who have a single goal that drop the other in important right now. It also a good option for those with very weak self-control to help them improve it. Remember, you can always add more mini habit, but it's more painful to have to drop one. Multiple mini plan. This is my current strategy and the most advanced one, but that doesn't mean it's too difficult for a beginner to have success with. I have three mini habits, but you will see that two of them are practically the same thing. I write at least 50 words for anything, write at least 50 words towards a book, and read at least 200, 2 pages of a book every week. This is in addition to my now regular size habit of working out at the gym 3 times a week, which evolve from one push up challenge. Even with three distinct daily goals, I can complete my entire list easily in less than 10 minutes if needed and never fail. If you really want to try four or more mini habit at once, starting out to be my guess, it could work, but I don't want it to spoil this great system for you. If it's too much for you to consistently complete while each mini habit is super small, it takes some willpower and discipline to do them all every day, and mini habits aims for 100% success, not 95%. If you fail at just one mini habit, you won't have the feeling of total success, which is important for maintaining high self efficacy. Your ideal quantity of mini habit is largely determined by how difficult each one is for you. Drinking water is easier for most people than a fitness habit, even when many minified. Habits that involve having to drive somewhere are a significantly more difficult option, especially because it depends on availability, location, etc. Mines are easy because I can bring my laptop with me everywhere. Think I guess I can write because I'm going on vacation for 2 days. Not anymore. Now I can be productive on vacation too. I know what you are thinking, but I can just meet the minimum if I want to relax. Instead, the multiple mini plan is recommended for people who have several good habits they are eager to develop or would feel unsatisfied to only develop one at a time. If you are not sure which plan is best for you, choose the flexible plan and pick one habit for now that most liked to form. Don't be afraid to name the full amount of what you want in this step. For example, exercising 5 eggs a week consistently. At this point, you should have a habit planned and full size habit to pursue. They may be related to fitness, writing, reading, drinking water, habitual gratefulness, meditating, programming, etc. Now we are going to magnify them. Make your habit stupid small. Make your habit stupid small. The reason we tend to resist giving ourselves a small step has to do with social norms, a habit of thinking bigger, and pride. I can do 20 push ups easily. A person will think so, there's no need to say, I'll do just one. But this thinking only takes into account one type of strength, physical. Every possible action, such as 20 push ups, has a willpower requirement attached to it. If you are motivated, full of energy, and in shape, 20 push ups might not cost you much willpower, but when you are little bit tired already and not feeling up to it, not only will you have less willpower, but the activity will cost more of it. A mistake, a mistake people A mistake people make when setting goals is not taking up taking up into account that their motivation energy levels are going to fluctuate dramatically. They'll assume that their current state of mind and energy can be preserved or reactivated when the time comes to act. What ensues is a losing struggle against a brain that doesn't want to change in that way. But this time we are going to trick our brain and win the willpower game. My rule of thumb is to minify my desire habit until it sounds stupid. When something sounds stupid small, your brain sees it as non threatening. These are small that sound stupid small to the most people. One push up a day, you are joking. Get rid of one possession every day. Worthless. Writing 50 words a day, you will never publish anything. A skill you'll pick up as you practice. Mini habit is finding creative ways to make your action smaller and smaller. If you feel resistance, if you are resisting your single push up today, say you have to get in push up position, or easier, that you have to lie on your stomach on the floor. If your mini habit is to drink one glass of water every day, you can make it smaller by deciding to fill a glass with water, or one step further, pick up a glass. If your mini habit is writing 50 words a day and you're resisting, open up your word processor and writing one word. You won't need to do this most of the time, as your mini habit are already stupid small, but remember you have this in your arsenal for times of extreme resistance. Too small does not exist in regards to mini habit. If you are unsure, go with the smaller option. For ideas of mini habit to implement, visit minihabit.com. This is the key of the mini habit system. You are going to repeat this to small to fail action every day. Just as important as making your mini habits small is making your thoughts small too. You must embrace this mini requirement as if it is a full goal. This means if you meet the tiny requirement, you are successful for the day. If you can do that, you will get the big results you desire. What to do with weekly mini habit? I can understand that some things aren't suitable for a daily plan. Exercise is something that many people will want to do 3 to 5 times a week, who would want to drive to the gym 7 days a week if they are only working out 3 days a week. Weekly habits will take longer to form into habit, but they are consistent enough for the brain to recognize as a pattern. So if you are really want to set a weekly mini habit, try it and see how it works for you. We can do something creative with weekly habit, however, to transform them into a daily requirement. If you want to drive to the gym weekly, as an example, you can set a hybrid mini habit. A hybrid mini habit is when you are giving yourself a choice between two options, do A and option B. I'm not overly fond of hybrid mini habit because they add to the willpower cost. Making decision also use willpower, but they are the best option in some cases, and I like that they have you do something every day. Hybrid mini habit example: drive to the gym or dance for the duration of one song. Drive to the gym or do one push up. Drive to the gym or jog for 1 minute. With this example, on off day, you have a replacement activity. Won't people just choose the easy one every day? First, I think you might be surprised at what you will do without any additional requirement. Granting yourself freedom in a smart way is very empowering, and you want to be fit, right? Second, the mini habit here is just to drive to the gym. If you want to, you can simply drive back home. It sounds crazy, but I must stress the importance of giving yourself a way out of a big overwhelming 45-minute workout. Your subconscious brain is smart enough to know when a goal on paper isn't your real goal, and it's when the force ourselves into an intimidating commitment that our slow changing brain rebels. For a hybrid plan, I recommended starting with no string attached. Just see how often you decided to go to the gym. If you never seem to choose the gym, then you can start by recording one gym day per week. Later, you can scale up to 2 days required per week. Take your time with this, so don't be in a rush to change because your brain can't and won't change quickly. It will take time anyway. So easing yourself into it is called most logical method. All right, now check over your list. Do you have a mini habit plan? Did you choose flexible, single, or multiple? Are your mini habit stupid small? Say them out loud. If you are loved, they pass. If every time written down on paper, scrap paper is fine. If so, great. On to step two. Step two, use the why drill on each mini habit. Everyone prefers to be healthy, but not everyone is willing to put in the work required to be optimally healthy. There are benefits of eating fast food and watching movies all day too. If your problem has been that you want to do things but struggle to do them, then you have the right book. The best way to know if the habits are worth the effort is start by identifying the source. The best habit ideas are source straight from your life values. We are not looking for ideas that come from peer pressure and other expectation for you. If you try to change based on another person or society opinion, I think you know what will happen, but I'll say it anyway, massive internal resistance. Using the way drill to get to the source. Drill. That's what they do. And I call the following the way drill because the simple questions why is the best way to drill down to the core of anything. Once you listed your habit, identify why you wanted them, but don't stop there. Ask why again. Continue to ask why until it becomes circular and repetitive, which means that you found the core honest answer are absolutely necessary for this to work. So dig deep. There will be more than one answer to these questions, so try to pick the most relevant one. Here are two real and honest example of mine. One is the great choice to make habit, and the other is the highly questionable. I want to write every day. Why? Because writing is my passion. Why? Because it's my favorite way to express myself and tell stories I can connect with and help people through writing, and I enjoy the process. Why does that matter? Those things make me feel alive and happy. Why? Because writing is clearly something I value and treasure in my life. Next example, I want to get up 9 a.m. daily. Why? Because it's what successful people seems to do, and it's embarrassing to get up later. Why? Because I have the sense that society in general and certain people I know look down on me for staying up and waking up later. In the second example, you can see that the main reason for change is an external pressure that said getting up at 6 a.m. could still make me happier because of the preconceived notion I have about waking up late and early. It makes me feel more successful and decrease my general sense of guilt when I get up earlier. So it's not a throw away, but when put against something like writing, I'm writing very late at night. Right now, I'm not going to give it precedence by staying up late to write. I'm being true to my inner values, even though the world might not agree with it. It's okay if the world doesn't agree with you. Don't get bullied into a lifestyle that doesn't suit you. Step 3, define your habit cues. The two common habit cues are time based and activity based. In a time based cue, you will say, I'm going to exercise MWF at 3 p.m. In an activity based cue, You will say, I'm going to exercise MWF 30 minutes after I take my last bite at lunch. People with 9 to 5 jobs have very structured schedule, so time-based cues tends to work well for them. Those who have a lot of flexibility in their schedule might benefit more from an activity-based cue that lets them keep a solid yet flexible schedule. Which cue you will use depends on your desired lifestyle. Time-based schedules are right rigid with little ambiguity. For example, you start at 4 p.m. sharp. This helps you to get work done and build discipline. The downside is lack of flexibility. Maybe you will get a headache at 4 p.m. when you are supposed to do something active. Life has a way of throwing off your schedule, and when you miss a cue and do the tasks late, you'll hit that awkward stage where you don't know whether to feel successful or guilty. Activity based are more flexible with a bit more ambiguity. They help you to build the structure into a typical structureless life. The tricky part is in knowing precisely when one activity ends and the other begins. If I am to start writing something after lunch at a restaurant, do I get to settle in and check the mail before I start writing? Must I go straight to the computer? You may think that doesn't matter, but it does, because as the power of mini habits show, a little tasks can easily extend into bigger tasks. Suddenly you will find yourself organizing your entire decks and remember, oh yeah, I was supposed to be writing small steps. Get us started and allow us to build momentum towards a meaningful goal. But it works the other way too. If you allow yourself small concessions soon enough, you'll find them growing against your will. The question of time based or activity based cues isn't all that important. They can both work just fine. What is important that you choose and choose firmly. Not making a decision here is a big mistake, but before you lock down your choice, there is one more option that might surprise you. It is the preferred choice for all of my current mini habits. Freedom based, non specific habits cues, general mini habits. Traditional habits book will tell you about the cue behavior reward structure of habits from studies and then proceed to tell you the obvious next step. Pick your cue behavior and reward. What if you want to do something like think more positively in general? What if you want to do something at varying times? Mini habit opens up a new realm of possibility here. The following is especially relevant for flexible schedule and general habits like gratefulness. Many habits are rooted in autonomy, freedom, flexibility. The goal is to empower you to have constant success. We can apply this philosophy to restrictive habit cues by instead setting a 24-hour deadline with no specific cues. Have you noticed that bad habits have multiple cues while everyone suggests that a good habit should have one cue? It's no wonder bad habits are so strong. They have sprawling roots tied to many different cues in your life. That because bad habits grow naturally through repetition in various circumstances, while we grow good habits artificially with the single cue behavior reward formula. It's true that if you only have a single cue, you will still be more mindful of that behavior. For example, if you think two happy thought at 2 p.m. every day, then you will probably think them more in general too. But doing it at 2 p.m. every day can feel restrictive and forced depending on your personality. In addition, when you set a specific time to do something, it can feel wrong to do it outside of that time. For people who have a morning habit of writing, many of them won't ever write at other time of the day. I write at any and all times of day, whether whatever fits my schedule best. Another problem with specific cue is their additional load on your willpower. When you have to run at some point today, that flexible, when you have to run at 3 p.m., that inflexible, the additional pressure to perform the tasks one time increase willpower costs. Traditional habits suggest you pair this time sensitive cues with a big task, making it even more difficult for you to succeed. But for you, the total willpower required even for cue triggered action will still be small because of the mini size of the action. Therefore, mini habits are a habit fits into the current popular model of the cue behavior reward than a traditional size habits are. Note, I am not saying that non-specified cues are always better. They are better for some people and some habits. Each habit should be decided on individually. A general habit is a habit with more than one cue for action. Most of us already have general habits of eating, entertaining ourselves mindlessly, browsing the internet, and so on. Due to the staggering numbers of cues we experience every day, there's something applying about not choosing just one cue for a good habit. The rigidity of the rigidity of having only one cue can hamper social opportunities and spontaneity, but with the dominant habit theories, have one cue is the one viable way to make something a habit. Having multiple cues would require too much willpower, and each cue would need to develop individually, drawing out the process of becoming habit. That's why mini habits are a game changer. A general mini habit requires you to do your little requirement once per day at your leisure. I don't recommend midnight as the deadline, as this is also inflexible. I recommended that going to sleep for the night signifies the end of your day. This gives the greatest chance to succeed because you can squeeze in your mini habit at the last second. I realize how bad that sounds, but it serves an important purpose in the early stage of mini habit, nurturing your feelings of constant success which build your self-efficacy. I did the one push up challenge for a few months. One of my embarrassing common cues on was right before bed, the deadline. This is an indicator of poor discipline because I failed to fit the habit into my schedule during the day. But instead of going to sleep disappointed, I still went to sleep with a win, and usually I get in some bonus reps too. When you go to sleep feeling like a winner, especially if you do it for many days in a row, it creates an internal desire to improve even more. You heard the that success you heard that success begets success. Right, it's true. Successful people work harder than depressed people because they are already successful. Success ignites passion and action. This is what many habits will do for you. You will see successful, which will make you want to succeed more and more. I say this not just as the author of this book and the mind behind this system, but as its first junior pig. I've tried a lot of other system, and my mini habit results crush anything else I've tried. Back to the one push-up story. After a while of stealing wins at the buzzer, I wanted to do better. I began to get my push-up in earlier. The timing will still very different cues. This is why it's okay to meet the minimum just before the band. It encourages you to build your own self-discipline. True self-discipline is not when you have someone ordering you to do push-up. It's when you decided on your own to do them. It's self-discipline. Despite my great success in reading, writing, and exercising consistently, it was weird because I felt like a fraud. I didn't have habit cues. All of the popular habits books talk about them. The science said they were essential. All I had were daily requirement and a weekly exercise quota. This is supposed to be how people feel their habits. And yet I am having wild success. Why? The first thing I realize is that these studies test big willpower guzzling goals like going out for a morning run at 6 p.m., doing 100 push ups daily, or striking with a workout program. Many habits I realize are so different that some of these rules change. Many habits are too small to fail even without a cue. You will always have the ability to fit in your habit right before bedtime. Many habits generally take about 1 minute each to do, and this nightly habit check will become a habit too, which is wonderful because it keeps you mindful of your life. Did I met my easy requirement today? Yes, excellent sleep. So what happens when you have a habit too small to fail? That's without cues, the development of multiple habit cues, and this is really exciting. While I love morning routine in particular, and many choose to develop one, it's been great to have a general habit of writing. Writing for me resembles the structure of a bad habit. I'm sure I have a specified cues. One cue I've noticed is after I eat something, but because I have multiple cues, it seems like I just do it randomly. But wait just a second. If it can take months to form even one habit with a single cue, it must take years to create multiple cues. No, many habits are minuscule and easy. And remember the study earlier on habit formation length. It concluded that the difficulty of a behavior is a primary determinant of how long it takes to make it into a habit. This means that many habits can become habitual much faster than traditional habit can. The caveat, of course, is that when your goal is 50 words and you write 2000 each day, it might take longer to make 2000 words a habit. But if you are crushing it to take degree, that's a great problem to have, right? Yes. If you don't have one specific cue, your brain will take longer to make it habit. So if you are got then and so if you got 10 habits you want to add in your life and are going for speed, it will be faster to set single specific cue for your mini habit. On the other hand, if you want to flexible weave something into your identify and schedule like I have with writing them, make it a general mini habit. A recap of cue option. General mini habits are done once per day. Time queued mini habits are done at 3 p.m., 9:45 p.m., etc. Activity queued mini habits are done after lunch, before work, while driving, after using the restroom, etc. A few more details on my general mini habit experience. Some people do their writing in the morning. I write all at all times of the day. Writing has become a lifestyle habit for me. You know what happens to me now? I'll be watching a TV show and get the urge to write a great weird things. But when I'm watching something with other people, I don't get this urge because it's a different scenario. I react dynamically and naturally to situation. When a friend was over for a couple of days, I didn't write as much, and that's exactly how I want to live. If that became a recurring issue that was making me unproductive, I could adjust. As you can see, this has some positive implication for fixing bad habits as well. While bad habits grow unintentionally, and grow everywhere. You will have 98 cues to smoke a cigarette, 53 cues to watch YouTube videos, and 194 cues to browse the internet mindlessly. It's possible to let your good mini habits grow wildly like this, like competing competing for nutrients. Your good habits can then grow out your bad habits. You can see that writing now competes with watching TV shows for me. This is less likely with specific cue habits as they are tethered to just one cue. They can be very strong, don't get me wrong, but less it shares a cue with a bad habit, it will be isolated from it. A word of cautions: you want to be deliberate about what habits you let grow widely. For example, some people can fix now because they are workaholic. Their work habits get so ingrained into their identity that retirement confuses and bores them. They want to work. I've decided that I want to write and write a lot for the rest of my life. So I'm willing to let my writing habit mesh into my identity. Same for regarding an exercise. But I am not sure I like the same type of habit for bathing once a day and fine. For that, I prefer a cute habit like showering once I get out of my bed. Sleep schedule and meals might also be best structured so as to let the body get into a circadian and dietary rhythm respectively. If you want to something to become an encompassing part of your life, good examples include thinking positive thoughts, writing, being thankful, exercising, being active, going to others, minimalist living, etc. I recommend setting a new specific cue for your mini habit. Only give yourself a daily deadline of doing it before you sleep for the night. If you want a behavior to have a specific carve out place in your life, set a specific cue for it. Some examples include exercising on a specific day, reading before bed, and writing in the morning. Some people like to have their life every structure, so they might choose only specific cues. It's all up to a preference. You can even choose a combination of wild and cued habit. Decision making in the moment. Especially if you are choosing general mini habit, understanding the decision making process will help you to do them when necessary. We have two states of mind when making a decision. First, we weigh our options, which is called the deliberate mindset. Then we commit to act, which is called the implement mindset. The goal is to move to the implemental frame of mind instead of getting stuck in the deliberative frame of mindset. One advantage of cues is they cut out the deliberative process and help you get more quickly to an implemental state of mind. This is highly appealing. Cues are the keys factor in what news and implementation intention, which are predetermined decision of exactly when and how you will do something. Implementation intentions are known to improve goal success. A mini habits with a cue has an even greater chance of success because it does not require much commitment. It's so small that it's a no brainer. Mini habits can work without cues too. Thought though their minuscule size is what elevates them above competing behaviors. So while you need to go through the deliberative process without having a cue, you should not get stuck when trying to decide whether or not to do one push-up or write 50 words. It's too easy to think too hard about it. If you ever find yourself scaling, remind yourself how small your task is. Now write down your selected cues for each mini habit. I like to keep all of mine under the once per day at any time. Umbrella, this keeps things simple. Step 4: create your reward plan. If you are prisoner hoping for parole, when do you think is the best time for your parole hearing? I'll tell you, it's right after the parole judge takes a food break. A study found that judge rule more favorable for prisoner just after a food break. Presumably, they were more willing to listen. When you view the chart of payroll grant rates, there is an obvious spike after each food break. Making a different decision like granting payroll is a part of ego deflection. The same energy resources that determines our willpower and food is a proven reward that can restore it. What do you think would happen if you tried to make a new habit of sticking your face in a dirt and eating some of it? Let's assume that you wanted to build this habit, you couldn't do it. The obvious reason is who would want to do that, but the brain reason is there no reward, it's more like punishment. Your brain would be very adamant against this. If you are not playing sports, exercise can feel like a drag. Most people don't feel like running around in circles or climbing a fake staircase. They don't feel like pushing, pulling, or lifting various heavy objects at the gym. It comes with a feeling of discomfort. I can say from experience that going to the gym is three times more uncomfortable when you are out of the shape. It feels like your muscles are saying, "Hey, we were sleeping after your hard workout." You get home, look in the mirror, and your reward is sweat. At this point, your brain is probably asking you where the real reward is. There is a natural reward for the brain when you exercise. In anaerobic exercise, the brain release feels good endorphins, also known as runner's high. Interestingly, weightlifting causes endorphin release too, but only if it is a heavy and intense. Light or medium intensity lifting won't trigger an endorphin release because it doesn't cause the body to switch to an anaerobic state. I like how writer Tom Schiff puts it. When your body crosses over from an aerobic state to an anaerobic state, is suddenly operating without enough oxygen to satisfying the muscles and cells screaming out for it. This is when the runner's high occurs. Things of the anaerobic state as a retail store during the holiday season. The body isn't keeping up with its normal operation, so it has to go into another mode to meet increased demand. Endorphins are a nice natural reward for the brain, but they may not be enough of a reward for some people, especially at first. As exercise can feel a bit like punishment. You might need a bigger reward. They use exercise as punishment in the military for a reason. Exercise has significant primary reward of sculpted abs, feeling great, and being healthy. But these are delayed from the time you first exercise. Meanwhile, your brain wants cake. Now, cake is a sensory or primary reward because the sugar hits the taste buds and activates the reward center in the brain. Exercise through offer mostly abstract secondary rewards like walking on the beach with a great body, feeling satisfied with your efforts, and other higher level thinking. Secondary reward, as you might guess, take longer to take hold in the brain. Reward association. If exercise, endorphins, and the promise of eventually result do not significantly reward your brain at first, you need to call in back up. And because the world is awesome, we don't have to play the habit game fairly. What we can do is attach completely unrelated reward to the certain behavior. After some time, the brain will associate the behavior with the reward, and that's what we want, and later the brain won't need the attached reward. If you ever wonder why so many foods include sugar, it might be because sugar is mildly to moderately addicting. Pretty much anything that delivers a reward to the brain can be addicting. It isn't healthy to consume sugar in excess, but consuming a small amount of sugar for the sake of continuing an important habit may be worth the calories. Moderation is the key here. A creative way I like to reward my brain is with laughter, which relates feel good chemicals. I'll sometimes follow a writing session by watching the hilarious bat lip reading videos on YouTube just for fun. The next time someone sees you watching a funny YouTube videos, tell them you are training your brain. It's science.